Hello. Uh, I just want to do like a very raw type of video where I just kind of talk about the song that was recently released and just kind of share some of the ideas that were going on with it and maybe some of the story. We'll go over some of the literary elements that I try to use in the song, just kind of a breakdown of it. Um, just very loose format. Just an opportunity for me to just kind of gush about the nerdy side of songwriting um, and share that enthusiasm, uncut, unedited. Just uh, really get to share what some of my personality is like in these songs. So part of that is going to be searching for the song in my notes because there are a lot of songs in here. I think I know where it's. Is it here? Wasn't there? Hmm. Here it is. Okay. I guess I could have done it for memory, but I like to have kind of the list going down. Okay. So the concept: money grows in the dirt. Um, there's several ways it can be taken. The one that I lean toward is this idea of you can't have things handed to you. You've got to work for them. Because that's kind of where I come from. Is I've kind of come from a lazier, more spoiled background. Um, as basically an only child, I've got some siblings, but they're way older than me. So that age gap kind of created a long time where I was in the house by myself. So I got a little bit spoiled and growing up in an age of blossoming technology and parents having to work jobs and stuff. I was just left by myself a lot and not a lot of expectation put on me, and I was just kind of taken care of in that regard. But as I've gotten older, you start to see, what the hindrance is for not having that kind of work ethic instilled in you. And so I had to kind of do things to uh, strengthen uh, that sense of work ethic, and part of it is this idea uh, that this song portrays. So where it originally came from is I was walking into, I think I was going to the gym one day, and I was walking under a tree, and I think like just a little leaf fell down in front of me, and I said a little line ran through my head, uh, and I've since I since changed the song, um, but for a time it was because there's an explicit word, but it said don't sit on your asses underneath the branches, and it kind of rhyme, and I tried to rework that into different lines, and it just wasn't working. So eventually that got scrapped, and that was turned into "Don't look up above you." Don't look up above you when your belly is a rumbler, which is on its own is kind of a fun little line there. Um, Before there wasn't very much. This is like a little bit older of a song, and as far as like when I had started writing, started writing it I think 2 years ago. And I had it pretty much what I felt was done on in one day. I sat down and worked with the idea, and I was happy with it until I looked at it again later, and I realized like, no, I want to change things here and there. And one of the things is I was incorporating. I had this stronger sense of it being, um, the Lord says um, in Proverbs all these great things about having a work ethic, and just like this idea is like we can't expect uh, the Lord to um, just pamper us. We still have to practice a biblical wisdom and uh, do work with our hands. We're supposed to be stewards. Uh, as far, yeah, that's really what I had for the notes on lyrics. I guess part of it is like on the concept of like money grows in the dirt, and there in the bridge it says put a quarter in now and get a dollar bill later. Um, I realize that kind of goes against in like the in a literal interpretation of um, the parable of the sowers, and or sorry, the parable of the men with the talents. And there's the man that puts one talent in the ground, and the master returns. Is like, why didn't you do anything with the money I gave you? Like, you could have at least put it in a bank and gotten some interest on it. So I realized that that there's like a little bit of a disconnect there, but they are talking about different things, and ultimately the song is kind of referring uh, to that idea of like God will give you something, you need to do something with it. Um, don't squander what you're given. Um, and so I feel like that's kind of the main note that's resonating in there. Um, as far as literary devices, we're taking uh, conceit to the standard expression of like you know money doesn't grow on trees, or I guess we're expanding on that idea. So money doesn't grow on trees. Well, okay, where does it come from? It's like, oh, it comes from the ground. So it's not like uh, it's not a fruit that comes off of a tree that you can just kind of it falls off into your hand. You get it for free. It's like, no, you gotta dig for it a little bit. You have to get your hands dirty. Uh, there are some fun rhymes in here. Uh, I'm not very much of a hard rhyme person. I don't think that rhymes have to be exactly 100%. You know, cat, bat. They don't have to be exactly the same. So it kind of gives you a little bit of leeway there. So like ground and plow, they still share the same vowel sound, but they don't share the same consonant sound. Uh, and in the bridge, you say, get a dollar bill later, and rhyming it with potato. But we bend later to later, and potato, and bend it up to potato, later potato. They kind of that see you later alligator. Well, I guess that does rhyme as it is anyway. Forget I said that. Never mind about that. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this at the moment. A lot of it's pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to try this out and see what this would kind of be like, sitting down and talking about the song for a little bit. Hope that you enjoyed hearing some of the insight about it, and we'll see you next time.